Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Dr. Asif and I am going to tell you the physiology of circulation. Now, broadly speaking, the functions of the heart are: number one is that it is the major mechanism by which the nutrients, the enzymes and vitamins, they are transported from one part of the body to the other part. Secondly, this is the system that removes waste products from all parts of the body, eventually to be excreted from the kidneys or through the lungs. Then the third function is that the heart also transports different types of hormones. Hormones are produced in different parts of the body, and they have to be transported to almost all the cells of the body. So this is the sole instrument which transports these hormones from one part of the body to the other. Secondly, it also helps the maintenance of the blood pressure, body temperature, and it also keeps the pH of the body at a constant value. Another function of the heart, of the circulation, is that it maintains the water and electrolyte balance. We are always vulnerable to an increase or decrease in the water or the electrolyte concentration. So this circulation will keep these two water and electrolytes at a constant value. Now the function of all these, in sum, the overall function of the circulation is that it helps to maintain the homeostasis. Now, another function of this is that it reconditions organs that receive blood in excess of their needs, for example, the kidneys, GIT, and skin. These are the organs which receive more blood than what is required for their normal metabolic functions. So this is in excess of what they need, and this excess blood is used to perform specific functions. Then another function is that because of the presence of platelets, it helps in the clotting of blood. And then the last function is the defense of the body because of the presence of the white blood cells. Now, physical characteristics. Broadly speaking, the circulation is divided into two parts. One is known as the systemic circulation, which contains about 84% of the total blood, and this circulation is also called as the greater circulation or the peripheral circulation or high pressure circulation. In this circulation, the blood from the left ventricle goes into the aorta, and from the aorta it passes on to the arteries and then the arterioles and then the capillaries, and from the capillaries the blood enters into the venules, that means small veins, and then the bigger veins, and then the superior and the inferior vena cava, and eventually it enters into the right atrium. Now the volume of blood distribution is very interesting because 64% of the total blood is present in the veins. That means about 2/3 of the blood is present at any time in the veins. So veins will act as a major reservoir of the blood. 13% of blood is present in the arteries. 7% of the blood is present in the arterioles and the capillaries, and about 7% of the blood is present in the heart at any given time. The second circulation is called as the pulmonary circulation, which contributes about 9% of the total volume of blood. It is also called as lesser circulation or low pressure circulation. Now this diagram shows the relative distribution of blood in different portions of the circulatory system. For example, the systemic venous system contains about 64%, pulmonary circulation about 9%, and heart 7%, and then so on and so forth. Now, the functional anatomy of the different parts of the circulatory system. Number one are the arteries. These are also called as the Windcastle arteries because they are the elastic reservoir arteries. Their number runs into several hundred. They have got large radii and their walls are quite elastic and thick. They carry blood away from the heart, so they contain very strong muscular wall and they are very elastic because up to 40% of the elastic tissue in tunica media is composed of the elastic tissues, and they are meant for the transport of blood at a very high pressure and velocity from the left ventricle into the peripheral parts of the circulation. They have also got very high compliance. Compliance means कि increase in the volume of blood per unit increase in pressure. It is just like if you keep on inflating a balloon repeatedly, then eventually with a very small pressure in the you exhale into a balloon, then the balloon will be inflated. So that means it has got a very high compliance. It has got also very high elasticity, so that helps to convert the pulsatile flow into a continuous flow. Pulsatile flow is that whenever the blood comes out of the left ventricle, it is in the form of pulses because the left ventricle contracts, it pushes the blood into the circulation and then it relaxes, the left ventricle relaxes, and during this time no blood is coming out of the heart, but the blood present in the arteries that keeps on passing onward. So during this period the pressure is low, and during this contraction period of the left ventricle the pressure is high. So this change in pressure this is also called as the systolic and the diastolic pressure. So this pressure is called as the pulsatile flow, or the flow is called as the pulsatile flow, and because of the elasticity of the arteries, this pulsatile flow is gradually converted into continuous flow because at the level of the capillaries we need a continuous flow for continuous diffusion of substances from the capillaries into the surrounding cells or tissues. So these arteries may either be elastic arteries or they may also be muscular arteries, depending upon the presence of whether they contain more elastic tissues or they contain more muscular tissues. And then on the outer side is the collagen fibers that provide a tensile strength to these arteries. The second type of vessels are called as the resistance vessels. They have got less than 0.1 mm diameter and they consist of three main structures. One are the arterioles, the second are the metaarterioles, and then are the precapillary sphincters. There are about 500,000 of these present in our body, and they are composed of the endothelium, which is the innermost layer, then the smooth muscles, and then outer to the smooth muscles is the connective tissue layer, but there is no elastic tissue layer. They are richly supplied by the smooth muscles, and these smooth muscles are innervated by the autonomic nerve endings. Now these resistance vessels are very important because they can change the diameter of their lumen, and this will regulate the blood flow to a particular organ or tissue. So they will act as a stopcock action. Now again, these resistance vessels help to convert the blood flow into a continuous flow because of the resistance they offered to the flow of blood. So they can change the resistance by either constricting or dilating their lumen. So diameter of the terminal arteriole is 20 to 50 micrometer, and metaarterioles have a diameter of about 10 to 15 micrometer. Then are the capillaries. They are also the exchange vessels. So there are about 10 billion capillaries in our body. They are composed of only a single layer of intima, and they have got a very large surface area, which is about 6,300 square meter. So in the capillaries are present small pores or small holes in the endothelium that helps to exchange the transport of substances between the blood and the interstitial fluid. Now flow in the capillaries is continuous, and then and these capillaries also show a phenomena of vasomotion. We will learn more about this vasomotion in our next lecture. And then the diameter or internal diameter of these capillaries is about 5 to 9 micrometer. Then are the venules. They collect blood from the capillaries and from smaller veins, and then flow in the venules is continuous and the pressure is low. Then the veins, so there are several hundreds of veins. They have got the same three layers. They have got large radii as compared to their corresponding arteries, and they act as a conduit or reservoir vessels. That means they not only contain the blood in their lumen, but they also act as a reservoir of blood vessels, because whenever we need more blood in our circulation, then these veins will constrict and they will push that volume of blood into the circulation or in towards the heart, and that will increase the venous turn, that will increase the cardiac output. They have got smooth muscles which are elastic, and they contain also collagen tissues. They also contain folds of tunica intima in the form of valves in their lumen, especially the veins that are present in our lower limb that contains valves that help in the unidirectional flow of blood only towards the heart and not away from the heart. They also contain about 2/3 of the total blood, and the pressure here is very low as compared to arteries, and lumen may increase or decrease depending upon the capacitance, and so they can regulate the venous return.